What's up, everybody? Money Moicano is stepping in for Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 311 against Islam Makhachev, and we have to talk about it. We don't really need to talk about the fight. I think we all know what's going to happen. Although you need to consider that Money Moicano can't afford to lose. So let's just start with the fact that Money Moicano is stepping in for Arman Tsarukyan. So if we look over here, from the horse's mouth, so to speak, breaking news: Makhachev will now be facing Moicano for the lightweight title. I guess what happened was Arman Tsarukyan hurt his back somehow. I've seen some tweets and some videos of him doing the wrestling thing where they roll around on their head, and I'm not going to say that it's related to that, but it probably is something stupid he did in training. And I think the biggest problem was the weight cut was a little bit more difficult because of the back injury. So with that said, Renato Moicano, who was already scheduled to fight on this card, is stepping in for Arman Tsarukyan, and he will be, I guess, a late replacement is what you would call it. And so that begs the question, you know, because we've seen situations like this before. I mean, the event is tomorrow, and this broke maybe 3 hours ago, that he was out. And so I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, I understand he's an easier opponent for Islam than a lot of people who could have stepped in. It could have been Charles. It could have been Volk again, which is a pretty easy fight probably on this shorter notice with how long he's been out and given his last two fights. But I just think, I don't know. I think it's an easier opponent, but at the same time, it's somebody who was already prepared to fight, and somebody who fights a similar style to Arman. So it's something that Islam was preparing for, but I think he's a watered down version of Arman Tsarukyan. I saw Flukas Gleazy said something about it. Shout out Flukas, Peaches and Creamville. Yeah, so that begs the question, excuse me, why did Islam take this fight? I mean, like I mentioned, I understand he is a similar opponent in that he's a grappler with decent striking, although everything he does is probably worse than Arman, wrestling included. And it makes you wonder, why would Islam take this fight? And the answer is because Islam isn't ever going to say no to a short notice opponent. He might never say no to any opponent ever for any reason at all. I think I saw a picture of him in his gym and talking about, it has a quote above the mirror. I think it was his gym. And it said basically his quote, what am I going to do? Say no? Obviously, never. So I don't know who's coming in to fight Beneil Dariush, or if anybody is, but I think I'm just trying to read. Ariel Helwani's posted some stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing important. Just basically talking shit about Jon Jones, which is kind of my point with this video. So let's cut to the chase. Islam within the next calendar year will be considered the greatest of all time. I think within 2025, and if not very early in 2026. And I'm going to tell you why. I think that for two reasons. One, he won't turn down a fight ever. I mean, ever. Like, if this isn't evidence enough, 36 hours notice to fight Money Moicano, who's a guy that, is on a little bit of a hot streak. He can't afford to lose. If that isn't enough evidence for you, then, I mean, he's taking fights he doesn't want to take. He took Volk again. He didn't want to take Volk again. And that was after Charles backed out, when he didn't want to fight him again. He's not interested in rematches, but he's taking them regardless. And so I think that's something that Jon Jones wouldn't do, right? I think that's an important consideration here, is that Jon Jones isn't going to take these fights in the way that Islam is. He's going to turn down those opponents. He wouldn't take Chael Sonnen on multiple days, I think it was weeks notice maybe. And that was a long time ago. I was like 10 years old when that happened, but he wouldn't take Chael Sonnen on short notice. And he ruined an entire event because of it. And also, like, the roid thing is going to start catching up with Jones. We just have to accept the reality that Jon Jones is probably going to have an asterisk on his legacy, especially if he avoids Tom Aspinall, and even worse if he faces him, makes his 30, 40, $50 million, and then loses. Um, I think that that's obviously not going to be good for his legacy, but Islam is approaching Anderson Silva's record with basically no controversies. He's got one loss, and it was a fluke when he was an undeveloped striker, so he got caught on the feet, and anybody could. I mean, Jon Jones hasn't been caught on the feet yet, but he got beat by Dominic Reyes. So, and the biggest stain on Islam's legacy really is that Volk fight. And I mean, if you watch it back, it was close, sure, but if you don't watch it as somebody who understands that Volk is a 145er and he's stepping up to try to get another belt and whatever, you say, okay, yeah, it was a tough fight, but Islam won. So, and I'm a very big Volk fan, but I just think that all of these things culminate in Islam putting together a resume within the next year that makes him not undisputably, but it's a real conversation. It's like it's the LeBron MJ circa 2016. Like it's getting real. So with that said, let me know. Sound off down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about Money Moicano's chances. I put a little bit of money on him just in case. He's a plus 700 underdog. So nice little payout. That'd buy me dinner or something. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm gonna leave it short here. And welcome me back in the comments. Leave a like, sub, and we're going to be getting more consistent again. So, peace. Love you.